Are y'all ready for part 12? The most extreme disorganized attachment, or fearful avoidant, as they're also known as. It's going to be pretty intense, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it's like. As a partner, an extremely fearful avoidant individual often creates an emotional roller coaster characterized by the following behaviors. And you guessed it, the very classic push pull dynamic. They often fall in love so hard and so fast, showering their partners with extreme affection, grand romantic gestures, and future plans early on. This is also part of the love bombing stage. As an intimacy happens, they suddenly perceive closeness as a threat to their independence and safety, leading them to being hot and cold, distant and dismissive, without any warning, with any recollection, with anything to tell you of what's going on in their head. Panic induced sabotage. They may subconsciously sabotage any healthy relationship by picking fights and anything so abruptly to protect themselves from anticipated rejection. Yes, they will pick fights, they will argue, they will be the most extreme, most insecure, most dismissive person you've ever met. Alright, guys, so the fear of abandonment for an extremely fearful avoidant is going to be at its all-time high. They're going to be so chaotic at this time, but they're also going to be so dismissive on all your feelings. So they're going to be terrified you're about to leave, but they're also going to be the most distant person mentally, emotionally at this time. They're not going to care about your feelings at this time. Their fear of engulfment is going to be so high, and their fear of anything of that sort is going to be at its highest point with an extreme fearful avoidant. Extreme volatility, folks, and regulation at this time. They're going to have extreme outbursts. They're going to struggle emotionally to regulate, which can manifest into sudden anger, intense jealousy, possessiveness. Yes, they are going to be the most jealous, most possessive, most angry at this point because they still fear the abandonment. So they feel like you're going to leave. So they're also going to try to control the dynamic. Disassociation. Anybody familiar with that one? Under high stress or during conflict, they may shut down or go numb or physically leave the room to escape the overwhelming intensity of their feelings. Yes, they will definitely do that. So we've heard that the fearful avoidant and the anxious attachment are both hyper vigilant. So they are going to be extremely attuned to their partner's moods, small changes in tone, body language for definite signs of betrayal or abandonment. At this point, it's going to be at its high point. They're going to be checking your social media. They're going to be trying to hack your phone. They're going to be trying to get into all of your information. They're going to be watching who you talk to. They're going to do everything possible to convince themselves that there is that betrayal or abandonment that's about to happen, even though their fear is the reason why it's happening. All right, communication and trust issues. What does that look like with their partner? Well, first and foremost, they are going to give some very inconsistent signals. Their communications will swing from deep, vulnerable self-disclosure to long periods of unexplained silence. They will over-explain themselves to a point where they're literally yelling at this time. And you will also be trying to explain your half, but they've already dismissed your feelings. They're not going to care at this point. Their lack of trust, they generally hold a negative view of themselves and others. They have the I am unworthy, you will eventually hurt me statements, making it difficult for the partner to believe expressions of love from them at this point. They do not have boundaries, and they don't respect yours. They maintain a rigid wall to prevent true emotional intimacy. They want it, but they also don't want to disclose it. They want you to hear it, but they also fear that you're going to leave if you hear what they have to say. Partners with extremely fearful avoidant individuals often report feeling emotionally starved, confused by mixed signals, and like they were walking on eggshells the whole time to avoid a triggering a withdrawal. Additional bit of information that I always share: extreme fearful avoidance or disorganized attachments at this point would have frequent dysregulation or disassociation. They mentally checked out at this point. Not functioning in life. This is going to be debilitating at this point, where they're not going to be able to really have a successful relationship, work career, or anything at this point. They will often be self-harming. They'll do risky behavior, like, sleeping with pretty much anyone at this point. Rapid mood swings, chaotic narratives, doing a bunch of crazy stuff just to take the edge off. Unpredictable, extreme fear of rejection and abandonment at this point, and very, very high trauma. They are going to be to a point where this would technically be the most unpredictable and worst relationship partner to have ever, besides a dismissive. A dismissive at this point would be like, I'm going to treat you as a pawn in my game. The fearful avoidant would be like, I'm going to treat you like a pawn in the game, but I'm going to throw some chaos in there to make you really confused and angry at me.